Rewatch Podcast. I'm Nick.
And I'm Kim.
And I don't think we've got any no new news, per se. At least I don't have anything.
No, nothing new.
Anyway, I suppose we should try and get to a secret diary of some kind. Laura's secret diary, in fact.
Out of curiosity, just for the point of this podcast, when are we actually going to talk about the secret diary of Laura Palmer?
I don't know. I'm half in mind to say after Firewalk with Me, or maybe just before Firewalk with Me.
Okay, so we're not going to read it for a bit yet.
It's difficult to say, I would say.
Because technically speaking, by this point in chronology, some people would have read it.
I know.
I do feel I have read it. It doesn't explicitly tell you who the killer is, but I do feel it spoils a few little bits.
Well, that's why I say we'll leave it till later, maybe.
Fair enough, so do you want to introduce this episode then?
I shall. So this is Laura's Secret Diary, directed by Todd Holland, written by Jerry Stahl, Mark Frost, Harley Payton, and Robert Engels. Like everyone had a hand in this one. Our first podcast on the 20th of October 1990. I'm not doing any guest stars anymore because we're getting down into the real tertiary people, and it's actually very difficult to figure out who's turn up where. But anyway, would you like to tell us about Laura's Secret Diary?
Sure. Do you want Margaret Lanterman first or second?
We always have it first.
Start with Margaret. So Margaret Lanterman, the Larg lady's introduction to this episode was as follows. Miscommunication sometimes leads to arguments, and arguments sometimes lead to fights. Anger is usually present in arguments and fights. Anger is an emotion, usually classified as a negative emotion. Negative emotions can cause severe problems in our environment and in the health of our body. Happiness, usually classified as a positive emotion, can bring good health in our body and spread positive vibrations into our environment. Sometimes, when we are ill, we are not on our best behaviour. By ill, I mean any of the following: physically ill, emotionally ill, mentally ill, and/or spiritually ill.
Thank you, Margaret. That one's not an easy one to type.
No, that one's a bit vague compared to some of her other ones.
Yeah.
There's no pitch gum in that one.
No.
Following on from the cliffhanger of the previous episode, Harry interrogates Leyland about his trip to the hospital, and Leyland confesses to killing Jock because he believed that Jock was Laura's killer due to the fact he'd been arrested. Dr. Hayward and Cooper discuss their feelings about this. After Cooper leaves, Andy also approaches Dr. Hayward, asking about his sperm test?
Yeah.
Previously, as we are aware, Andy was told that he couldn't have children. He wants to know if that will always be the case, and Dr. Hayward agrees to get his sperm retested. However, on the way to the lavatory to give his sample, Andy bumps into Lucy while he's carrying a copy of Flesh World, and Lucy is horrified by this. It's revealed that the judge will arrive to try Leyland Palmer at any time, and the fact that the reports are in and there was nobody by the name of Robinson who ever lived in the White House that Leyland had previously claimed. Cooper also notices that Andy is wearing new boots and asks where he got them, because they match the pair that they found in Leo Johnson's home. Andy reveals that he bought them from Mike Gerard, thus making Cooper suspicious of him once again. An employee at the Great Northern tells Ben that a travel writer called M.T. Wentz is due to visit Twin Peaks. Ben tells her that he wants hourly updates, and she is to keep an eye out for a man who pays by cash only, because this is one of the few things they know about that writer. Jean Renault waits for Ben in his office and then shows him the video of the bound Audrey. He explains he's the messenger, and that the business is being run, in his words, by pickpockets and fools. So he offers his assistance. He explains that the actual kidnappers will soon tell Ben a ransom, and Jean Renault wants Cooper to be the one to bring the cash. He is to expect a call at noon next day. Ben orders for an assistant to find Agent Cooper for him. The news about M.T. Wentz also travels as far as the Double R Dimer, which excites Hank, who leaves to pick up flowers, tablecloths and candles. Hank also suggests to Norma that she calls Big Ed so he can recommend their diner to any unfamiliar motorist, something that makes Norma quite uncomfortable. Meanwhile, Donna visits Harold for dinner, and they drink wine and toast as Harold reads very risque passages from Laura's diary. Donna suggests that they give the diary to the sheriff, but Harold insists that he's read it cover to cover and there are no solutions within it. Back at Ben Horn's office, he's found Cooper and shows him the video of Audrey. Cooper is a bit suspect about why Ben is not taking this to the police, but Ben said that they will kill her instantly if he does so. He says he thinks that Cooper is the one to try and rescue her because of their special relationships, and asks Cooper to deliver the ransom, which is $125,000. Josie Packard returns back from her supposed trip and apologises for disappearing. Pete has to be the one to inform her that Catherine has died in the fire, although he does note that, despite the fact they're having a service in a few days, they have yet to recover the body. We get a brief scene with Audrey at Blackie's, where it's revealed that Emery has hit her. John Renault assures her that he will keep her safe and this won't happen again. He keeps his word by shooting Emery dead and hugging Audrey as she is just reduced to a quivering mess by this. Cooper tries to intervene in the feud between Andy and Lucy, which goes incredibly badly, leading to him upsetting Lucy further, as after she has explained her full history with both Andy and Dick. Lucy claims she doesn't know what she actually wants. Cooper also approaches Harry confidentially, asking for the assistance of a bookhouse boy, but tells Harry it's best that he doesn't ask any further questions. At the Double R Diner, we have a small bit of comedy while Norma and Hank try to appease a man that they think is Went, while Maddy and Donna meet in another boot. Donna insists to Maddy that she is not angry about her relationship with James, but asks for her help retrieving Laura's diary from Harold. As the judge for Leland's case, Judge Sternwood, finally arrives at the police station, he gives Lucy a hug and shows that he is good friends with everybody who works there, as well as introducing himself to Cooper for the first time. He talks to Leland and tells him that they will raise a glass together in Valhalla, but as the prosecutor has not arrived, Leland agrees to spend a night in jail. Sternwood's beautiful law clerk, as Wikipedia politely puts it, arrives to pick him up and take him to the hotel in their Winnebago. In other small subplots around this time, we also see that Harry meets with Josie, who shows him her new dresses and recounts the fact that she was away at the time, even though Harry is suspicious. She claims that she had to leave town because she was afraid of Catherine and Ben. As they make love, we see the mysterious Asian man who we'd previously seen in the hotel is watching them through a window. Also, there is an encounter at the police station between Lucy and Dick, where Dick tries to offer Lucy cash to get an abortion, and Lucy angrily tells him to leave or she'll scream, before retreating to Sheriff Truman's office to have a cry. We also get a brief scene at the hotel where another mysterious Asian man is checked in, again paying with cash, so potentially the hotel critic. Back at Pete and Josie's place, Josie introduces the mysterious Asian man, the original one, as her cousin Jonathan. As Pete leaves the house, Jonathan tells Josie that their business is almost done and she is expected back in Hong Kong. Josie is concerned that the only loose thread and potential danger is Hank, and Jonathan tells her that he will deal with that. Cooper waits for the bookhouse boy at the roadhouse, only for Harry to show up. Cooper is secretly pleased with this, although he does say that Harry is not the bookhouse boy he was expecting. Finally, at the Double R Diner, there is a knock on the door. Hank answers in his pyjamas, but no one is there. As the lights go out, Jonathan is standing in the middle of the room, waiting for him. He fights Hank before a slightly strange exchange where he exchanged blood and calls him a blood brother. He says that next time he will take Hank's head off and then smashes Hank's flashlight on the ground.
Thank you.
Bit of a strange episode, this one. It's very disjointed.
It is. I'm going to start with an even more disjointed point as well.
Okay.
So, I sort of said I'm pretty sure that Madeline used to have curly hair.
Have you been frantically Googling pictures?
No, I just looked at her Wikipedia entry.
Oh, you're right. She did used to have curly hair.
Look, she looked way different in the past.
Yeah,
She
you're
looks
right. Her
so different
hairstyle's
now.
changed. Is she looking more and more like Laura, though? Because I think Laura has quite straight hair.
Well, I was going to say that her latest haircut seems to be almost identical to Laura Palmer's hair.
Mm.
At the same time, you want to say, is it because you have really curly hair? It's not easy to get it to straighten your hair, is it?
Oh, it takes hours. It's not worth the effort.
Yeah. So is Maddy doing this to look more like Laura Palmer? It's not just going to make.
Maybe it's a wig. Maybe she's just started wearing a Laura Palmer wig.
Well, I was going to say, I think that she is, but I don't think we're meant to know that. I think that's what the setting did. But anyway, while looking at Maddy's entry on the wiki, I also found this bit, which is, I don't know, you asked about the Secret Diary of Laura Palmer, and this just makes it a bit confusing.
Okay.
So, the Secret Diary of Laura Palmer indicates that Maddy knew and befriended Donna Hayward, although they seem to meet first in the series. So that's a bit of a weird disconnect.
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, we still have that bit where they met at the Palmer household and got introduced later on anyway, so who knows? Would you like to talk about Harold? Because I know you want to take the man to the task.
Oh, I hate Harold, as does most of Reddit. He just makes my skin crawl.
Yeah, I mean, I did have one thought, at least, about...
Oh, you're not going to try and justify Harold?
No, not precisely. It's a... It was a thought, although reading the wiki entries as well makes this a bit unclear. At this point in the series, you could believe that... Because the main point is that people don't like the fact that he has Laura Palmer's diary and has done nothing about it, despite documenting abuse within it.
To be fair, in the series, we don't know exactly what's in the Diary of Laura Palmer, but the Diary of Laura Palmer was released publicly as a publication before this episode, so we know it does document her abuse.
Yes. My only thought was, because I know the final bit is that Laura Palmer says she's leaving it with Harold. And isn't that meant to be the day she dies?
Yes. It's supposed to be the last thing she does.
I'm just going to go here, because you can't really excuse not reporting the abuse, but the whole sort of, here's a shut-in. Has he had it like just over a week?
But you're also bearing in mind, he's an older man who has read this thing cover to cover. He knows that she was being abused. He has just got on his high horse, and because he feels special because it's been left with him, and said, oh, no, I've read it. There's nothing in here that the police would want to see. Of course the police would.
Yes.
Of course the police would bloody want to see this thing.
I can't defend where Harold's going, obviously, but it's one of the ones again of, as you are writing this serially, the person who introduces Harold does not know this bombshell is lying in wait. Or that he's going to have read the diary cover to cover, and that it's not just been left with him for some reason.
But you also get the feeling we don't know exactly how old Harold is. He is substantially older than these high school girls he is whining and dining.
Yes.
He's just a creep.
I will agree that Harold is a creep. He's been very weird.
An older man who has been aware that a teenage girl is being abused and not reported it because he likes the attention.
Yeah.
And now is grooming a second teenage girl. No, he's gross.
That's fair. I mean, I will. I know it's not really a defense thing. It's just one of these ones where I'm also willing to bet that no one thought of it in that way in 1990. Like the X-Files ones that haven't aged well is no one was thinking through the implications.
I think you're supposed to feel like poor Harold is a lonely, isolated man.
Yes, and these people, he is taking what he can from people who come to him.
Because he obviously doesn't get many visitors, therefore he's befriending his meal ticket, essentially.
Yeah. But it's like anything, well, some of it ages great like wine, some of it ages like milk. This is a milk situation, I think. I would be surprised if this was the intent back in 1990. But then again, it depends whose intent as well, though, because you've got showrunners, you've got the individual episode writers.
I like to think that most sane people, though, if you had, as he says, read the Diary of Laura Palmer cover to cover, you would immediately thrust it before her parents or thrust it before a police officer or something.
Yes.
You wouldn't keep this a secret.
Oh, I agree with that. Again, that awkward phase there as well of, were the writers given the manuscript to look at? Because there's actually a very good chance that the writers that never saw the insides of the book before went to press. And they're sort of going, wait, it says she did what now? I know, I think it's one of these, I do agree with you. At the same time, I'd say, I would bet that most of the writers weren't thinking along those lines at the time, and this is something that happens when you stack it all up afterwards.
Gross.
It's gross, but no one intended it to wind up like that. It's wound up that way by happenstance. You can't change it now, it's too late, but it wasn't meant to be gross.
Still gross.
Still gross.
It's like cool motive, still murder.
Exactly. I'm not trying to defend it, I'm just saying I imagined that we didn't... That's not how they wanted Harold to come out. When he was created, that wasn't what he was going to wind up like. Is that what my suspicion anyway?
Because you're supposed to be watching him like he's the Phantom of the Opera or something like that.
I think that's
This
what they were going
reclusive
for.
genius.
I mean, yeah, and then a lot of people, if you're being cynical, then sort of say Eric isn't actually that sympathetic.
The Phantom of the Opera is a weird thing because he's
very
been
weird.
The Phantom of the Opera is a weird thing because he's been romanticised a lot later, because of course that was not Gaston Leroux's intent in the original novel.
Well, even Andrew Lloyd Webber, he's a tragic romantic figure though, because he does a lot of bad things in that play.
A lot of people get strangled.
Yeah, quite a lot, and then he tries to kill multiple people.
Drops a chandelier on an audience.
And I know that's before we even get into whatever the hell the sequel's called, and the name has escaped me. Love Never Dies.
Oh, Love Never Dies, yeah.
Love Never Dies, which, if you've never seen Love Never Dies, there is a filmed version of it from Australia. It is
magnificent.
Astonishing. It's the sequel to Phantom of the Opera that should never have happened and doesn't make a lot of sense.
It's very loosely based on a novel called The Phantom of Manhattan.
Very loosely.
Very loosely, yep.
And I think we have to quote Lindsay Ellis here when it's like the main song is a 8-minute song about how the Phantom and Christine had sex one time. The centerpiece of the entire musical.
Yeah, it really is.
But it's 8 minutes of it, though, isn't it? We've drifted away from this.
Yeah.
Okay, Harold is a creep. Unfortunately, we can't do much about it. I can't defend that conclusion. All I can say is I would bet that was no one's intent. He's wound up like that due to a succession of other circumstances that have shifted things into place and changing times, because it probably was seen a lot more innocently in 1990.
Oh God, I hope not.
Again, a lot of things are though, aren't they? I mean, as we went over this in the X-Files, like Great Mutato, highly regarded and
Postmodern Prometheus.
Postmodern Prometheus. People thought it was great at the time, and you sort of look at it now. People still think it's great, but a lot of people are saying, "Wait, the plot is what?"
Well, you also have Small Potatoes,
Yeah.
which is a character that people love to reference, and on a surface level, he seems a funny character, but the entire plot revolves around sexual assault.
Yes, and you can't escape that. And it's one of those whole. People will argue it's consenting, in this case, it's not really, because the woman did not actually know who they were sleeping with. There's a whole thing in Revenge of the Nerds which people find extremely dubious for this very reason.
Mm.
So yes, Harold is not a good person. He's sitting on this diary. I think the only sort of slim opportunity you've got, though, I think there's other things that undercut this, is that he's had it for an inside of a week, but he should have still told someone about it.
Immediately on reading it. I also don't like the bit where he starts reading it out to Donna, and he reads a very explicit passage from a friend. But it's at first, from the look on his face, it looks like it's an accident, but then he almost immediately afterwards says, "I've read the whole thing cover to cover." It's like, so you must have known what that passage was about. Yeah. And yet you have chosen to do this as you're reading.
Well, I think as well, though, you don't tend to read someone else's diary unless you explicitly give them permission. I mean,
well, I guess she's dead.
But even then, I think it's a weird circumstance, though, to be handed off someone's diary for them to then die. Because I suppose it's difference between personal diaries, or indeed the ones that get published, but would Samuel Pepys really have wanted his diaries published?
That's the question.
It's a weird thing. It's not like, is it Alan Bennett, I think, is like one of the sort of modern diarists who I think actually is in complete control of it and does get them published because, he wanted to.
I saw it more as, again, kind of predator behaviour, and I'm not going to wax on this too much, but it's the fact that he reads this explicit thing, and then his shocked reaction is because Donna is shocked.
Yeah.
So it's was it just testing the water a bit? Will Donna find this sexy? Oh, no, wait, reading about her dead friend's sexual escapades. No, not sexy, abort. But yeah.
This despite Donna's increasing Laurification, shall we say. Maddy's Laurification. Is every woman in Twin Peaks just slowly morphing into Laura Palmer?
It's like that whole crab thing.
I was going to say, actually, it was going to be even weird and just say it's like End of Evangelion, where all the rays show up. Instead of that, you've just got Laura Palmer's coming for everyone.
I was going for the whole, one day we will all become crab.
Carcenisation.
Carcenisation, yes.
So, okay, is that or Third Impact? One of the two.
Should we talk about someone who isn't creepo?
We could talk about someone who's not creepo. We can talk about... Who the hell's in this episode?
Well, I can talk about a bit about cinematography, actually, because that opening shot with the ceiling tiles
Oh, yes.
is actually really
It's
interesting.
wall tile, actually.
Yeah, wall tiles, sorry. But it was done by putting a pinhole camera within the wall tile and slowly kind of extracting it to get that weird shot where you're not sure what you're looking at.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing about it is the sound direction of that scene.
Okay.
So there are a lot of overlapping voices over that, some of which you can pick out. One of them is saying something very distinct, which I personally think is a bit of a spoiler, so I'm not going to repeat it. But there were other voices that were stripped from it, apparently, because they felt, on listening back, that it revealed who the killer was.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. This is the great opportunity of Twin Peaks, is I've forgotten most of this happens. I mean, I don't think I remember much of this episode.
There are a few little snippets I do remember. Like I almost said auction. Auction's not the right word. Ransom. The ransom of Audrey.
But I mean, I don't remember that Leland, like we said last time, I don't remember Leland getting arrested for this.
Oh, did you not?
No, I thought he was just fine.
Mm.
He just killed Jacques Renault and run off into the sunset.
I did like the kind of very brief exchange with Dr. Hayward, who kind of rationalised what Leland did. You know, it's the, well, the man did kill his daughter response. Again, cool motive, still murder.
And also Coop's response is still, you're comfortable with murder, and not, we don't think Jacques did it. We think he was involved with whatever preceded it, but we don't think he actually did the deed.
Yeah.
Last time I did. I also realised we'd left out an important part of Jacoby's hypnotism from last time.
Okay, what was it?
Is Cooper specifically asked if he smelled burning motor oil in the hospital.
Oh, and you said it was earlier.
Yeah.
He remembered smelling it in the park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, if you're keeping track, means that a supernatural menace has to have been in the park. I think is how we.
I think the indication is that the supernatural menace is perhaps the one who attacked Jacoby.
Yeah. Which, for those of you in the know, yeah, I mean, that does link back to some of our bafflement when we discussed that episode. At the same time, I don't know what we're meant to do with that more than it's definitely that guy. We know it's a guy from Long Lady. We don't know who he is, other than he's Bob, who doesn't seem to exist.
There was no Robertson at that address.
There was no Robertson at that address. Oh, it's interesting that Doc Hayward has got the moral complexity there to sort of say, yeah, revenge is possibly okay. Although, of course, then we get sidelined into Andy's fertility debate.
It's kind of a cute side story. That it's a very soap opera side story.
It is. I mean, do we want to? We could actually break into the soap opera stuff we've got going on, because we've got a few of them.
Okay.
So we've got Andy's fertility fertility count,
which also ties into the amazing bit where Lucy turns on Dick.
Yes, I mean, I think there's a weird gap, I think, with Andy's thing of sort of the whole, can you retake the sperm test? It's like, well, obviously, and Andy sort of saying, I've done something or whatever.
I've been wearing boxes like you said.
Yeah, that's meant to increase the sperm count. It's one of those. Yeah, Andy, I think that will improve it. I'm not sure that helps with Lucy's fertility previously. The two aren't, unless you were doing that at the time.
I guess it depends how long he's been doing this for.
And as I said,
we know he had the sperm test before he knew that Lucy was pregnant.
Yes.
That's why he believes it can't be his.
Exactly. But this is setting up the whole, we don't know the paternity of this baby anymore. I do think also Lucy can't claim a moral high ground when she sees Andy taking a copy of Flesh World to the toilets.
When she's been dating.
And sleeping with
Dick.
Yeah.
At the same time, reading porn in the toilet while you're at work as a policeman feels a bit of a grey area.
I'm guessing it's meant to be just Doc Hayward sort of wanted to rush things. But yeah, I think I get you fired in most places.
Mm.
I also, I know we've never seen Flesh World proper, but from the bits we've seen of it, I'm not sure it's usable.
You said previously it was a bit like a classified.
The bits we've seen of it, yeah. I mean, it's possible that there are like colour photo shoots in the other parts of the magazine, and the back part is like the classified ads.
Maybe there's like a page 3 girl still in there or something.
Yeah, or centerfolds or anything else like that. So maybe it works for the intended purpose.
I mean, obviously don't read men's magazines, but I can imagine.
Well, no, you read them for the articles.
Oh, of course, you read them for the articles.
And if this joke has probably aged quite badly and doesn't make sense anymore, but it's one of these weird things where Playboy actually kind of had this reputation. Like, they actually got...
Did it actually have articles?
It had actual articles, and it actually had, like, reputable writers doing articles for Playboy.
Okay.
The rest of them are exactly what you think they are.
Right,
The
yeah.
whole photo shoots, erotic
You
stories.
would not
and all this.
believe what happened to me.
Yeah, what they, as alluded to in that episode of Law and Order we watched with the author,
Oh, yes.
it said his first published work was a penthouse letter.
Mm.
So that's the reader submitted letters of this happened to me kind of thing.
Someone once told me somebody who was a freelance writer said writing those kind of letters made him the best money.
I'm not surprised.
This, of course, was maybe 15, 20 years ago, but I remember speaking with a freelance writer who claimed that that's where the money was, writing these "you'll never believe what happened to me" kind of letters.
I mean, it's one of the things where when you sort of pause and think, it's like, wait, because you'd be surprised how many women write into the men magazines with their confessions and things. It's like, and you're reading this top shelf pornography for what reason? To notice that this is. Anyway, the point of this is that I don't know what the current state of Playboy is, but at one point in time, Playboy honestly was you could read it for either purpose.
Okay.
There was a literary benefit to Playboy, oddly enough. I know it seems absolutely
I feel
insane.
somebody's making kind of like bunny ear ditto marks around that.
No,
literary.
No, actual legitimate, actual recognised American writers and kind of thing. I know it sounds like a gag, but this is why though it's such a common refrain in sitcoms. Where they always say,
I buy it for the articles.
Oh, Will and Grace, I think, had the reverse one, which was he said there came a point when I really was reading Playboy for the article.
Right. I see.
It's a weird tangent on infertility.
Pornography.
Anyway. No. Yeah, I don't think Lucy can claim a moral high ground anymore. Good on Coop for trying to diffuse the situation, though. He does it in the most blunt way I can think of.
I really did like the sequence where she and Dick had their really awkward conversation. Because I like the way it's framed, where at first it sounds like he's come to his senses and he's going to be there for her.
And propose.
And he reaches in his jacket like he's going to propose and then brings out money. And you're thinking, well, what's the money for? Oh.
Yeah.
But then her immediate turn on him and the "I never want to speak to you again. If you say one more word, I'll scream." And then she does hold to that.
Yep.
In the foyer of a police station.
Not going to go well for him.
Oh, poor old Lucy.
Poor old Lucy.
Mm.
She's not having a good time of it. And, I mean, we learned that she wants to be a mother. For other soap opera stuff, though, we have Catherine's body has been recovered, which in all soap operas is a red flag.
Yeah, if it's a soap opera or if you're the Joker.
Or it's any kind of serialized sci-fi fantasy thing.
We saw him fall, but we never found the body.
I mean, that's always... There's a Batman comic I read, the Death in the Family little series.
Yes.
And it ends with the Joker being blown up and like Batman sort of frantically shouting at Superman to say, find his body. And it's a case of, and the narration is they never do. They never ever find him after.
Yeah.
He can't have survived it, but then they'll never find the body.
Mm.
He'll come back one way or the other. So make of that what you will. That we've learned. Well, we didn't know before that Catherine's body hadn't been recovered. I don't think.
No.
Or at least they mentioned it in the first episode.
But you know, from a soap opera, if a body isn't recovered, it means they're coming back in the most dramatic way.
Yes. Sometimes it's if you don't see if you don't see the dead body, you can't appreciate either.
I always think of that Neighbours plotline, the Great Amnesia plot with Harold.
Yeah, that one, and that's because he left the series, and it was like there was a big chunk of missing time there before he came back.
It was like 6 years, and then Harold Bishop comes back with amnesia.
And then he recovers of amnesia. I'm always reminded of the more modern one would be Walking Dead.
What happens in the Walking? I've never seen it.
I've never seen it either. I just remember that I think it's Beth, but don't quote me on that. Who's his face from Death Stranding?
Norman Reedus is Daryl.
Yes, whoever he's with or involved with, she apparently dies at one point in the series, and the fandom went absolutely nuts because a lot of it's off screen.
Okay.
And they were waiting with bated breath for a long time for it to come back. And I can be corrected on this wrong, and I might have just stopped following the relevant people, but I don't think she ever came back. I think it stuck, and everyone was kept saying, because they were picking up on these tiny little hints that she's still alive, and none of it happened.
You find that a lot with fandoms, because a recent one I've seen a lot of is Jujutsu Kaisen.
Oh,
the anime in which not only is a major character killed, a major character is sliced in half. And the fan base were convinced that they would get better and come back. Because, it's the hot guy, and you want to believe that the hot guy is not dead.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's like the BBC Sherlock, where people were convinced there was a secret fourth episode.
Okay.
And there was another one more recently, which I've just completely forgot what it is, but people were adamant there was something else coming after the end of it, and it turned out no. Because it turns out sometimes the creatives don't know what they're doing. They have produced a bad ending, and you go.
I think you want that assumption that everything's there for a reason.
Well, yeah, or it's or something. One thing that I'm passing on to these days, it was written deliberately badly. In this case of people don't do that because it gets you cancelled. They just don't know what they're doing.
I have an anecdote and it was something that got you riled up when I was in university. I did a film studies course, and one of the films we studied was Blade Runner.
Oh, yes.
And there is this shot at the end of Blade Runner, if you've never seen it, where the villain dies and gives a really, really heart-wrenching and very memorable, very quoted monologue. And then a dove kind of flies from his hands into the clear blue sky.
Yeah.
And my lecturer did an entire lecture on the symbolism of that. There suddenly being a blue sky in the middle of this kind of dystopian wasteland and the dove flying away as a symbolism of his soul rising to heaven. And as you quite rightly pointed out, it was a cinematic mistake.
Yes, because it was filmed next to an incinerator in England where they didn't have the other shot because the dove was too wet.
Mm.
What also got me about that, though, was I read the book they recommended to you like 20 years before that course.
Yeah.
And I knew it did actually say why that shot happened and when it did. And a few years after that, you got Blade Runner the final cut, which replaces that scene entirely with a different shot of the dove.
Yes.
So it's there. I see where your perspective is coming from, not the director's intent.
But again, you want to believe that everything's been put there for a reason. You don't want to believe it's a mistake.
Well, there's that great one in Star Wars of there's an extra crew member on the Millennium Falcon.
Is there?
When they take off from Mos Eisley, we're getting distracted again. In the first Star Wars film, and they're flying away, then two Star Destroyers start chasing, and they jump to light speed to escape to go to Alderaan. Behind Han Solo and Chewbacca, there is someone in the corridor who backs off. They're really blurry, but they back out of shot. And Luke and Obi-Wan Kenobi are strapped down at the table on the other side, and the droids are with them. So there's another person on the ship. And this is a crew member.
Love it.
Or Alien. The Alien one's great. So, Ripley's tries to turn the cooling on the engines back on.
Mm.
And she's the only one left on the ship. As she's running out of the control room, there is a guy in shorts and t-shirts with a bit of cardboard who puts over light as the camera goes past.
Wonderful.
It's just one of those, on video and things, you would never notice it, but on DVD, it's like, who is that guy? Anyway. So the other soap opera cliche that I think we've got, though, is Josie.
Yes.
Who's using her feminine wiles to distract us with some very simple, very easy to answer questions that she doesn't want to.
Mm. Also ruins that nice shawl.
But I think the implication is she's richer than anything at this point.
Mm. Though it's interesting how we're building, there's something going on in the background with Josie, with that shadowy guy that we thought was looking for her for untoward reasons, appears to be kind of like on her side.
Yes. Again,
Jonathan he's
Jonathan.
He presumably isn't really called,
No.
but that's the alias she gives him.
I put this down, it's that soap opera thing of they introduced him, and the writer's saying, he's helping Josie. It's like, that doesn't really line up with what he's been doing, because he's been following Cooper around.
Yeah.
And now he's just part of Josie's plot.
And interestingly, we brought in another shady Chinese man.
Another Asian person, I think, is the
They
best
keep
way to
calling
put
them Asian in the cast, but given Josie's Chinese, I assume that these are... Mind you, the one that's introduced has kind of a Japanese surname, so I'm really not sure anymore.
But they expressly mentioned Hong Kong, so we're definitely meant to be going for China.
But
Chinese.
the one that signs in with cash only that might be the critic
Yes.
was something like Tachimoto or something like that.
Ishimura, I think?
Tojimura,
Tojimura.
which doesn't actually sound like a Japanese name now I'm looking at it written down either. It kind of sounds like somebody who doesn't know how Japanese language works has tried to make a Japanese sounding name.
Yeah, and again, given the times of broadcast, it's not impossible that's exactly what happened, because, again, people weren't great with this.
A lot of Japanese names end with Mura. Let's work with that.
Well, I mean, not to invoke she who we don't try not to mention, but Cho Chang is a completely nonsense Chinese name.
I've heard people argue it sounds like a kind of racial slur, that name.
Well, people suspect that's how we arrived at Cho Chang, but it's two surnames, I think.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. So
well, that's awkward.
Isn't it just? Good going there. We're moving swiftly on.
Mm.
I think the other soap opera cliche we've got though is more the comedy beat, which is there's a food critic coming to Twin Peaks, so we better all be on our best behaviour.
It's quite a cute, funny subplot, that one.
It is, and it's kind of weird though. It encompasses Ben Horne, who is embroiled in so much shady stuff to be unheard of, and then Hank as well, who's also embroiled in shady stuff.
I kind of like the bit with the guy who comes into the Double R Diner, though, who quite blatantly is not the food critic, yet they're all fawning over him.
Yeah.
But I love it for the lovely, awkward scene where Norma rushes up as the perfect waitress and he just wants a cheeseburger.
Yes, and regular fries. And that poor trucker guy who's called Slug or something? Toad, who they force in the kitchen and launches him out the kitchen.
It's because he's eating some out of a tureen with a spoon when she goes past.
It's that weird discontinuity between Twin Peaks things. But no, I say that's the other kind of soap opera thing we've got. And we have some other weird visual things that just have not passed mention, like the beauty pageant that's apparently happening at the Great Northern.
Oh yeah, I wasn't sure where to mention that. But it's also something like Miss Timber and our timber mill's just burnt down.
They can still have Miss Timber. I mean, surely it's for the whole region or something. There's lots of lumberjacks.
Yeah.
It's one of these things where you want to say it's kind of good because it's a case of universe because there's stuff going on that we don't know about. At the same time, this is a TV show and it's not knowing about it is actually kind of weird.
So I don't think we advanced the plot a lot this time, but we probably got a few plot beats that we need to catch up on.
I mean, we haven't
the biggest one's Audrey.
Oh, and all
right, you first, Leyland.
No, we'll go for Audrey first. Poor Audrey. She's having a really bad time of it.
I do feel we're really dragging out her kidnapping.
As I said, I think the actual point of it, more than anything else, is killing off the romance.
Yeah.
I don't think it's actually meant to be we carry on this long for any other reason than we need to really just destroy the foundations out from under that now so that Coop can go one way and Audrey can go the other way. But at least Emery is now dead.
Jerk.
Well, he was always been a jerk. I mean, to be fair, do you need judgment because he's been like instrumental from getting from the perfume country to One-Eyed Jacks all this time. John is taking an interesting track with Audrey. I mean, it's almost like he's trying to brainwash her, I think.
Yeah, I guess you can see that. I'm really not sure what the end game is with this kidnapping because you'd think you couldn't really give Audrey back at this stage.
Well, they did say that. I think Emery and Blackie agreed that she can't be allowed to live after this. But at the same time, usually in hostage negotiations, I think they don't want hand over the money till they see the person's alive because otherwise...
Why would you?
And you could wind up they could be dead and you've given them money for nothing.
There are a few things of note. The only logical thing I can think of is Jean Reno wants to kill Cooper.
Yes.
So the only safe way you could give Audrey back would be if Cooper died. Because Cooper is the only independent witness that could not be silenced. Because you could scare Ben into not speaking because it would ruin him. You could scare Audrey into not speaking.
Yeah.
So maybe in John's eyes it would be safe to give Audrey back so long as Cooper dies.
Yeah, I can see that.
And Emery was the only character who really has anything to lose from this relationship. And Emery's now dead.
Yes. I do like that Jean is double-crossing, or is he double-crossing or triple-crossing at this point? Because he's not gone to Ben Horne in the capacity they wanted him to go to Ben Horne.
No.
It's this case of, I'm going to take over One-Eyed Jacks because they're stealing from you up there. But is that a double-cross or is it just a triple-cross at this point? I'm not sure anymore.
Kind of depends on the endgame. Really, his entire endgame appears to just be getting revenge against Cooper. And it's weird that he's kind of put all the blame on Cooper as well.
I was thinking that as well. It's why is he landed on Cooper given he's definitely not the one who murdered him? Because surely Details of Layla's trial is going to come out shortly, and I can only imagine the justification will be this man got my brother arrested and that's why he died ultimately. It doesn't matter who actually did the killing, though most people would say
But if you're blaming the arrest, the blame should fall on either Truman or Andy.
Yes. Andy shot him, so why John isn't going for him as well.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can only imagine it's a way to sort of keep another plot line going or have another Renault brother. If you looked back at the first season of Twin Peaks, would you think that the Renault family would have anything like this an influence on the plot?
I like how different each Renault brother's been as
I
well.
guess they're related to each other.
We've got the really suave Renault in now.
Yeah. And he puts me in mind of how the Raiders of the Lost Ark novelization portrayed Belloc.
Oh, was Belloc in the novelization not like he is in the film?
He's similar, but there's extra scenes and there's a whole extra dimension to how he's interacting with Marion and a few other people, which is pure seduction. Like, everything he's doing is seducing.
I've got to assume from his name that Belloc is supposed to be French as
I
well.
think so, yeah.
But obviously he's not French in the film.
Yes. But, I mean, we from other accounts, we know that in general novelizations are based on incomplete versions of the script or earlier versions of the script. Because if you go and read the Alien novelization, there's a whole lot of weird stuff that doesn't make it to the film.
Mm.
But yeah, there's this constant, persistent seduction thing. Like, even Marion is starting to give in to him when he's sort of like just undoing the ropes and that's bounding her and things. And none of that's in the film.
I can kind of see how you could turn Belloc into a sexy character.
Yeah. And it's not ultimately how we wound up, but that's how the writers of the script had him going for.
Mm.
But I can see Jean is... I think they're trying to get Jean to work in this capacity.
Yeah.
And you kind of want to say, there's nature versus nurture and everything else, but how is this man related to Jacques Renault in any way?
Well, they both have abysmal French accents. To be fair, I'll give Jean Renault is trying a bit harder.
He
with
is
that
trying
accent.
a lot harder. But at the same time, it's a case of, I wouldn't have thought they were brothers. I mean...
Also, in the Audrey plot, I like the way that Truman has outsmarted Cooper in this.
Oh, yeah.
It's so obvious, but it is a nice little twist at the end of the episode where they'll, please trust me, lend me your best book, houseboy. All right, yep, will. And then he just turns up himself.
But it's still not beating the sheriff's secret police allegation of this, like, is it?
Maybe based on what we see in the UK of American media, that all sheriffs have secret police.
Oh, maybe they do. I don't know.
We haven't talked about Leland.
So, for someone who had that mental breakdown before, he's taken this really well. And we get another confirmation he's an attorney.
Yeah, we'd have to rewatch it. Maybe I misheard.
Well, no, I think you're right, though, because it's... An encounter would actually make more sense to have been in that meeting at the first place, because nothing about how he was presenting himself there looked like a lawyer stuff, did it?
I've done a bit of background reading because I'm far too lazy to watch that first episode again and figure it out. As far as I can tell from looking at old scripts and flipping through people's comments on Reddit, because this seems to have confused a lot of people, he's not ever said to be an accountant. However, he is doing Ben Horn's taxes. So therefore you assume he's an accountant.
Yes, because lawyers don't do taxes.
But people have questioned about things like if he's something called a tax attorney, which I don't know what it is. But again, that kind of goes on the basis of, from a certain point, they just keep referring to him as being an attorney. Should Leland be representing himself?
No.
As far as I can tell from true crime documentaries, representing yourself is always a bad idea.
Yes, well, I will point you to Adam's Family Values. They said that man who represents himself as a fool for a lawyer. Well, as God is my witness, I am that
man.
fool.
Yeah. But I guess if you are an attorney, maybe you're more likely to represent yourself?
I think it's one of these things where you actually are still frowned upon. I mean, of all things, I can point to Harvey Birdman.
Attorney at law?
Attorney at law, because he gets, is it reductor or something to represent him in court?
Mm.
He does actually go through a whole rigmarole to get someone to defend him in court one time.
Yeah.
And I think it's you need the point of it, I think, is the impartiality thing of it. I think if you are a lawyer by trade, you know exactly what to do. The problem is usually seems to be in America is that if you represent yourself, you don't know half the procedural stuff, so you're going to come unstuck very fast.
Yeah.
Even though you think you understand how to do this.
I think it's even thinking back, even things like Better Call Saul, they never represent themselves.
No. And I think it's because this is a well-known truth of you're too close to the case for one thing.
Yeah.
And your emotions might make you sort of deviate from how you're meant to do these things. So, I don't know. I'm sure there actually is some school of thought about doing it, but you can see why Leyland might be trying to do it himself. But...
It seems a bit of an awkward thing because Leyland has basically admitted to this. He hasn't specifically said, I did it, but his defence was, that man killed my daughter, which is not the strongest defence to begin your trial on.
No. Someone mentioned something about an insanity plea. I think it might have been Doc Hayward. So I think that might be the whole... He clearly wasn't in the right state of mind before this.
But it was premeditated. He went there with the intent of doing it.
Yeah, I don't know how... We are not lawyers. We do not know how this works. We've never been in a courtroom to see how this plays out, so I don't know how this is meant to work. Do we have anyone else we could have? Oh, I suppose I mentioned her at the top, but we'll bring her back in again. Maddy and Donna are somehow on speaking terms. Just about.
Ish, yeah.
Well, James isn't there. So
Did James even appear in this episode? No, I didn't think he did.
Do we have anything else for this episode?
I think I'm good this time. It's filling the gaps. It's because there have been no big reveals this time. It's not like last time where it's like, and here I have Laura's second most secret diary wheeled out right at the end.
I think today's series is never actually going to grapple with why does she have two diaries? What possible reason could she have two?
No, you're right. It's, at least at this point in time, it's unclear why you would need a second diary.
Yes. Particularly given some of the damning revelations in the first one, the fact that there's cocaine in the first diary.
So next week's episode is The Orchid's Curse.
So you have to put it with Harold a bit longer.
Yeah.
It's fine. Maddy's on the scene. Look, she can just put on another blonde wig, stand outside his window and lure him out. If you want to get hold of us, our email address is thingsgetexchanged42@gmail.com.
You can also find us on social media, and please do hook me up if you'd like me to present anything Twin Peaks, X-Files or Garth Marenghi related at the start of this show. You can find us on Blue Sky and Tumblr at GetStrange42, and on Facebook by searching for Things Are Getting Strange, a Twin Peaks rewatch podcast. Also, if you're not sick of my voice right now, I do stream live on Twitch TV under the name AdverseCamber42, Mondays and Wednesdays at 8 PM GMT and Saturdays at 5 PM GMT, where I'm currently playing Code Vein 2, Digimon Story Time Stranger, and Scarlet Hollow.
Our theme music is Envisioned by Kevin MacLeod. You can find it on Compotech.com, licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0. Thank you all for listening, and until next time, please remember...
We'll meet and raise the glass again together in Valhalla.